my slips are like I'll eat something that's not alkaline. So
is it alkaline or alkaline?
Alkaline.
Same thing?
Tomato.
I didn't know if it was like a portion. I'm going to be educated. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to start telling everybody, that ain't alkaline.
Yeah.
It's not alkaline.
You just put me on. You educated me. Good
A
luck.
little alky.
Yeah, so those are my slips. It's never like animal products. I stay away from like a lot of junk food.
Give me an
But
example
give
of
us
a
an
slip.
example. Yeah.
A slip is like eggplant. Eggplant is not alkaline. Pineapple is not alkaline.
Wait, pineapple isn't?
No.
I've been totally banned.
Dang, so you're cheating when you eat a pineapple. Like, let me
I
just go.
put pineapples in my
Dang,
smoothie
that's deep.
every day.
Yeah, so like, I mean, and this isn't to like discourage people. Like, this is my choice because what happens is as you go down this rabbit hole of eating healthy, what you would start to see is that as you get healthier, you become less tolerant of things that aren't healthy. Okay, so let's say for instance, like they make papaya, but a large majority of papaya is GMO, like it's genetically modified. It comes from Hawaii, and most people don't know that. Well, if I decided that day to have a GMO papaya, I'm going to feel that. You see that? Like I'm gonna notice the difference.
Right, it's gonna be a shock. to your
Versus
system.
like somebody, Dave, who eats that papaya, he may be like, "This is great."
I feel amazing.
So,
I know, healthy out here.
So-
You put it on Instagram, healthy lifestyle.
so because now, like, because what I believe is when you eat really healthy, it heightens your senses.
Yeah.
And when you don't eat healthy, it dulls your senses. That's why you have to have so much of it.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to overcompensate.
Kind of the same effect for meat eaters, right? Like I can tell I don't eat pork. And if pork is in my food in any capacity, I can tell. Like I'm immediately nauseous, not feeling good. I have to get it out of there.
Yeah.
So is it the same?
That's the same, and I always tell people, like, you know, first of all, I will sit at the table with people eating meat, and it's not me eating meat. I'm not gonna gag, you know what I'm saying? But I always tell people when they're like, "Are you offended by this?" I'm like, "No." I was like, the only reason you love the meat is because of the plants that were put on it. The seasoning is all plants.
Yeah, it's the condiment.
So if you minus the seasonings, which is plants, you couldn't eat that meat.
That's very true, right? You couldn't just take a piece of chicken, boil it,
It would
and
be
eat
disgusting.
it in plain
It's called
water.
kosher chicken.
It's disgusting. but I will say this, I agree there. You don't love the steak. You love the char on the steak. You love the seasoning. You like the condiments that go with it, right? Like
Right.
sauce dippers. You can dip that sauce on almost anything, right?
right.
However, I have tried turning tofu into fried chicken.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Also, cauliflower wings. It's
Oh,
different.
cauliflower wings be hitting.
It is, but it ain't
But
a
it
wing,
don't taste
though.
like a wing.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like a wing.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the disconnects, especially in the Black community, one of the things that get me about veganism or popular veganism is that you go into restaurants, and I think one of the problems and why it's so difficult for people to convert is because you go and you look at fried chicken, take the E out, right? Apostrophe N, and you look at pizza. And then you get this, and it's clearly a different taste, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always wondered, like, why can't we just name it what it is?
Yeah, I think for the most part, and I don't like when something is like called fried chicken or something like that.
Yeah.
It's stupid to me.
Right.
But I think for the most part, as humans, we're very nostalgic. And so because we're so nostalgic, we're always looking for that. We always want that old thing back.
Yeah.
And so even when we move on to, like, let's say for instance, a new relationship, and we like hate the other person that we just left, we still love them. Right. So like we may go out, and that's
Debatable.
That next person may be a shade of the old person.
Yeah.
Because your taste is still the same.
Right.
And that's the same thing that happens with food. You're still in love with the texture that comes with meat. It's not the meat itself, because like
I see that.
at the end of the day, like it's all about texture. It's like rice has a texture, kale has a texture, whatever, meat has a texture. What you're trying to get is those reminiscent textures back.
Yeah.
And so the idea of like naming it, things that resemble like animal products, I think is just, first of all, it's like an identifier, so it's easy to sell.
Yeah.
And then second of all, I think it's just for nostalgic purposes.
Got you. It wasn't easy for me to even be open to trying vegan dishes until I realized, or until I processed in my head, I'm not going to be eating anything that tastes like fried chicken. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
I'm actually eating cauliflower.
Yeah.
I am actually eating kale.
You need to be okay with that.
And I had to, like, Donnie, grow up.
Yeah, and I think it's our brain
Just
trigger
grow up.
because we know we're eating the vegetable. You know what I'm saying? Our
Right.
brain triggers.
Yeah.
And real quick, okay, back to like the dating thing, right? Does it change intimacy level? Because you are what you eat, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So on an intimate level, is like, what's the difference in experience?
Yeah.
Not experience.
I have heard so much.
Well, I could tell you, when I went plant-based, I was dating somebody. I thought I was doing an excellent job in the bedroom. I thought, like, no, we good there. And then I went plant-based, and I was a big guy. I was like maybe 250 at my biggest. And you know, I'm like 6'1", 6'2", so it didn't look horrible on me.
Right.
And so I lose weight and I get down to 200. So I lose 50 pounds.
Right.
And so I look different. I mean, I look different to people when, you know, like 10 years before doing that. And so I wasn't the person she met. And so she was like, well, it looks funny right now. And she was like, but the libido, like, it makes everything better. And it really does. Wow. It really does change your libido. I mean, you know, not to be too vivid, but it's like getting a 13-year-old erection versus a 50-year-old erection. A 13-year-old's erection is gonna be up like this.
Right.
A 50-year-old is gonna be out like this.
Right.
And that is the difference. It makes a difference, brother.
All right.
So,
what about on the female side in terms of, I mean, maybe you don't have the experience, but how does a healthy lifestyle change a woman?
Yeah, so what I can say is, because I've been working with people more individually inside of my group detox program, where they're going plant-based, but they're also doing my detox. And what I have seen is emotionally, they're different. They have more mental clarity. They have higher spirits. I've also seen in almost every case, their periods almost get cut in half. So they may have like a 5 or 6 day period, and now they have a 2 or 3 day period, which means that it's changed their hormones in their body as well. So it makes a dramatic shift.
I can see that because you're not impacted by the chemicals anymore.
And the vast majority of food has hormones in it.
Yeah. And honestly, it's very important to note that it's not just non-vegan food. Vegan foods have hormones and chemicals in them as well.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. So that's why I don't necessarily self-identify with being vegan. I say plant-based alkaline because, you know, you could be vegan and eat a bunch of vegan junk food. I mean, like some Doritos and Oreos are actually
Beyond
vegan.
Burgers.
Vegan.
You
Impossible Burgers.
So
like, it doesn't necessarily.
Hold on, I want to just put a pin in that real quick.
It doesn't mean that you're eating
for
healthy.
the people. No,
it does not mean.
Make a point. Okay,
because it's all about, like, the movement of veganism was started by a guy named Donald Watson, I believe, in England in 1944. It was all about more compassion and love for animals.
Yeah.
So the whole movement wasn't about eating healthy. It was more about, you know, actually having more compassion for animals and not eating animal products or consuming or buying animal products. So no leather, things of that nature.
Are you that type too? Are you like the no leather?
Well, if I already have it, I have it.
But like right now, you're not gonna go buy like a leather belt.
Nah, because it's unnecessary now because there's so many options. So for me, I don't. But
you got leather in that Porsche
really,
out there, though.
Really, my whole focus is like showing people and myself, like, this is about being healthier internally, which is gonna make my outside environment more healthier.